It's 2021, we can't travel, but the idea of retiring in Zimbabwe was very much alive. So the plan was to buy a house, but this house had specific conditions. We wanted a house in a neighborhood which was gated because security for us was a main priority. Because just from asking around, we heard that there were few robberies happening, and if people know that you have some sort of a business, then become a target. So definitely the house that we needed was a house that had to be in a gated community where there is very high security. So we did our research, we did our due diligence, and we found a house. So when we found the house, you people were saying that when someone is on the ground here building your house for you, you get scammed easily, blah. We decided to buy a completely built house. Now, this house was only the shell. It had no ceilings, it had no floors, it had no plumbing, it had no electricity. So basically, you're just getting a shell which had windows. So we were fine with that. So we went ahead, we purchased that. So once that was done, we decided to start preparing everything in the house. For example, the ceilings, the flooring, and everything. So I had a principle that I work by, which is I do not work with relatives because, things go wrong and you start having disputes. It's very difficult to cut off family ties because of money. So for me, I'd rather not deal with family when it comes to business and any major things that require a lot of money. So the guy that helped us buy this house called me out of the blue and said, well, you know what? Your house here is ready. We've signed everything. Everything is all set. It's gone through the lawyers. Why don't we help you start fixing everything that you need fixed at the house? So at first I was like, no, I don't trust anyone. And then I thought to myself, well, why not try with very small things and see how that goes? So the first thing that we did was ceilings. So he went around, he did some quotations. Now, when it comes to the ceilings, I didn't know any companies that did ceilings because most of the things that we were looking for were things that we were able to search for online, and then we'll tell him where to buy the things. But anyway, the ceilings, he recommended a company because he knew someone who had fixed the house in Melbourne. So I was like, oh, let's see how it goes. It's just the ceilings anyway. So he did the ceilings. I was asking for videos, and sure enough, they were done quite well, actually. I was actually pleased. Even till today, the job was quite good. So I guess to him, it was more like bait because I then became very excited because when the ceiling was done, I was like, wow, maybe we can move on to the next thing. So we thought of sorting out the kitchen, but we had a specific design that we needed in the kitchen because we wanted custom-made tiles from a company. There's a company here, I think it's called Burnt Earth. They do very, very nice tiles and they're all custom-made. So we sat down, we designed the tiles, we spoke to the lady that runs the business. They made our tiles for us, and they sent their professional to come and install the tiles for us. So the tiles were done in the kitchen and also in the bathrooms. Even till today, they're very, very nice. We love them. When it came to cupboards, the kitchen itself, we decided to go with a company called Tusilago. Now, this is a professional company, and we realized that when we started dealing with these professional companies, everything was okay. But then again, what happened is we let our guard down. Because at this point now, we were going full speed. We were very excited with the progress. Pictures were being taken. And I remember even looking at these pictures more than 5, 6, 10 times a day, just looking at these pictures and videos of the developments that were happening on the house. So I left the work that needed to be done inside the house to my wife. And then I started concentrating on the outside and all the other major things that needed to be done. So I decided to work on the pavement. So there's a company called Precast. I told this guy now to go to that company, get a quotation, and find out how much it costs to do the pavements. And this is where the scam started. So he went there, he did a video call while he was there, and I was like, oh yeah, it's all good. He gave me the quotation, got the invoice, and the pavement was done. I was super excited. So when I came now on the ground to Zimbabwe, that's when I realized that these pavements were rubbish. They were absolutely ridiculous. There was grass growing on it. It was unbelievable. So at first I was so confused. I went again to precast to have a look at their pavings, and I realized that their ones were very smooth, they were very well done. I came to look at mine, and they were really bad. They were so bad, they were actually breaking off on the sides. And the worst part is the grass was growing. So I tried to be patient because I couldn't work out what had happened then. And then came the rainy season. It started raining. And then I realized that elevation of these tiles were not done properly. So the rain was not flowing to drainage. And again, that was very frustrating. In fact, the rain was accumulating on the front of the house and it was actually going inside the house. Luckily, we didn't have any furniture in there. You can imagine if there was furniture. This water was so much, it was unbelievable. In fact, even right now, I still haven't replaced the doors. The doors were all damaged. It was really, really bad. So anyways, I got in touch with a few guys over here because now I was on the ground, and they say they could remove all these pavings and put a black sheet because that was what was causing the grass to grow on the pavement. So I said, oh, go ahead, you can do that. So they went ahead and did that. But even though they took the pavers off, I wasn't happy with the quality of them. But at that point, I didn't have a lot of money then to go to the paving company and get it done and so on. So anyway, next part now where I got scammed. This was the taps. So we sent him to go to Bathroom Boutique because Bathroom Boutique is a very professional company. They have really nice taps and really nice toilet seats and everything. So looking back now, I realized that if someone shows you a picture of a tap, you're asking for something solid and you want something of very high standard, it's very difficult to tell from the video or from a picture. So I just assumed that these are the taps that we asked for and they were quite expensive. So where the scam is, what these guys do, and I realized this later, what they do is they go to the company that you send them to go to. They get a quotation, but when it comes to fitting the items, they get them from a much cheaper place. When I came now, I looked at the taps, I was in shock. They were very bad quality. But this time it was too late. And at that time, my communication with this guy was really bad because there are a few times where I caught him out and he was very upset and he was drunk, and basically I just say to him, look, you know what, our relationship with you fixing anything here, we're done. So the idea here was he used to get paid, I think it was 3% or 5% of the cost of the items. That was his payment. And I used to pay him. I had everything all logged. So in terms of his payments, he was getting everything paid for. No issues. So the other things that were really badly done were the doors. Again, the design of the door, because we wanted solid doors. We wanted doors that would last us a very long time. Because the idea with this house, although it was a small house, a house which we could come here and get started with our journey of retiring, it had to have things that would last very long. Because that to us was very important. If we were going to build a big house, that was going to be at the farm because there's more land there and whatever we needed to do was to happen at the farm. But at the same time, we wanted this house to be very comfortable with very durable things. So when it came to the doors were really bad. These are doors where if I was angry and I punched the door, my fist would go through the door. That's how bad they are. I don't even know what material it was. I think it's like cardboard. That's how I'll describe them. The doors are bad. So we were ordering doors which was solid, and he was getting doors that were not solid fitted on. Again, that was the other scam. So you would order something specific, they would buy something very similar, but for a cheaper price and get it installed. Taps outside, same thing. We were looking for those, is it brass? I think it's brass. Those very strong taps that last forever. Those are the taps that we bought, but the ones that were installed were very bad. But what really annoyed me now the most was at the back of the house, after they did the pavings, it was in a couple of hours, and I was shocked how quickly it was done. So they didn't do a very good job. So when it comes to getting things done, in my experience, it is very difficult. I think I've concluded that if you want to get a house built, you definitely have to have someone trustworthy, because it's very easy to get scammed. It's very easy. because what you ask for and what is built will look very similar. This guy was even sending me invoices. That's how crazy it was. They were sending me invoices and it looks very legit, only to get disappointed when I got here on the ground. Now, another part where I got scammed again, and then this is the well again. When I got here, they only had council water, and this water only comes at specific days. I think it's Thursday and Friday, and then it goes away. So this to me was very frustrating because the water itself was not clean to drink. So we had to buy filtered water from the supermarket. But even to bath with the water, I didn't like the smell that came from it. It was really bad. And also my skin became very, very itchy when I bathed with this water. So what I decided to do was to dig a well just in front of my house. So the first guy that came to dig the well, they came in, we agreed. And remember, I was scammed at the farm. So this time I was well prepared. I was super prepared this time. I say to the guys, the deal is you get paid when I get the water that I need. And these guys assured me, they said they can get water that is enough for me to water the whole garden, enough for me to even put in a tank. And I said, oh, no problem. So if you guys meet those conditions, that's when I'll pay. They said, oh, we're going to go ahead now and start digging. So they started digging. I was super excited. I even cooked for these guys because they really, really worked hard. At some point, they were also working late at night. And their dedication, I really felt like I need to do something for them. Let me just help them out, because they were complaining the next day that they were very close to getting to the water, but they needed water, they needed money, because at home they have families and they've been working now. They need to buy a few groceries. So I thought it would be a nice thing for me to just give them half of the money, because I could see progress. So I gave them half of the money. So thankfully they came the next day. They continued digging. So when it comes to digging wells, I didn't know that when they get to the level where the water is, they're not supposed to stop digging. I mean, this is information I found out later. They're not supposed to stop digging. They have to carry on and then start layering all the bricks so that it doesn't collapse. Because if the ground is very wet right at the bottom, it will start collapsing on itself, and then it will start creating a big hole on the sides. So I didn't know this. So what these guys did was they got to the level of the water and they didn't start building the walls of the well. They stopped. So straight away they said to me, hey, we got to the level that we needed to. Now it's time to start building the well. So I said, oh, that's cool. That's very exciting. So we bought the bricks, they started building the well, and I bought the pump. We put the pump in. So for 2 days, we were getting the water, and I was even watering. I was super excited. And then on the third day, when I tried to get the water out with the pump, nothing was coming out. And I was shocked. Now, remember, at this point, I can't even go inside to check, because they had dug about 12 meters. I couldn't even go inside to check what was going on. So I pulled the pump out and I realized the pump was sucking a lot of sand. I was like, what the hell is going on? So I called one of the guys and I said, look, can you put in a rope and measure the depth of the water, because I don't think there's any water in there. So he did that, and he says, well, look, our deal was if I get to the level of the water, that's when I get paid. And this is where I went crazy. I said, hell no. We had an agreement that I needed to have water that I can use every day to water my garden, use for any domestic use and all of that, and you didn't achieve that, so therefore I'm not paying. In fact, I was even asking for half down that I had paid them. So anyway, the guys just ran away and they didn't come back. So I got another team of guys who dig wells, and this time I was referred to by one of my friends. So we had to fill in this well back in, because there's a lot of sand and dirt that came out of it. So we filled it back up, and these new guys now started digging next to this well. So they dug, and fortunately they did a very, very good job. In fact, till today I have enough water to water the garden. I can use this water. In fact, I even give my neighbors some of this water. So that's how good it is. And this guy did a very, very good job under the agreement that they had to get to the water first, and if the water proves to be very reliable and everything is okay, then it will be fine. Now, I'm one of those lucky people because this well in the rainy season can fill 4,000 liters with water. I was actually very surprised, and the water fills up very quickly. So I'm very fortunate, at least, that I have clean water that I can use for drinking, and I use it for watering and so on. But this is one of those things which happen if you're not very careful on the ground. So there are even more things like the tiles that we asked to be bought, and the tiles that were bought, totally the opposite. So this is where you need to be very careful if you want to build a house back here. The things that you ask for to be built, they can be the same on camera, but they'll buy the cheaper version. I didn't know that they have cheaper versions of pretty much most of the things in the building space. So that's where the scam is, and you really have to keep eye on that. And also, even building the actual house, I know a guy who lives in my neighborhood here. He was telling me his story. He was building his house while he was away, and when he came back after the rainy season, he realized the house was sagging on one side. I could not believe it. But anyway, what had happened was the stand where they built the house, there was a big hole, but it was not filled in properly, and it was not compacted properly before they started building the house. So these builders actually ran away when this guy called them to come and see what they had done. And this is a fully built house. He managed to get some engineers, and they managed to save it, but it was quite expensive to do. Oh, and I forgot, there's another thing as well. When I purchased this house, there was termites. So they were supposed to put termite poisoning to make sure that the termites do not affect the house when they're building. And there's also a black sheet, I was told, that's put in so that it doesn't really affect the house. So when I got here, I was so shocked. I could see termites everywhere in the house. It was really bad. So what I ended up doing was I got a few companies to come in and spray. So they were spraying pretty much every year, and I was paying them $60, $80. They would come in, spray, and then it would look like it worked. And then after a couple of months, it happens again. And I was like, surely there should be a way that this should stop, because this has become a permanent bill now where I have to pay $80, $60, $80 every single year. And everyone that comes pretty much says that they can have the job done, and this termites will not reappear again. It was ridiculous. So in the end, I got this company, and this company here was different because they went for the queen of these ants. So they dug very deep, but this was quite expensive as well. I think I paid almost $300, $400 US. So they would come, survey the place, and find out where the queen is. So they would dig very deep and find the queen, and then once they found it, they get rid of it. So that's what would stop these termites from coming up. But anyway, that was my experience with the building. Again, I'll recommend that you subscribe and the bell notification. By doing so, you'll be notified when I release new tutorials. Until next time, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.